This here is Ben Green, master brewer at Southern Prohibition Brewing. The dude makes the nicest beer in the state, easily. He started doing it in his kitchen, took it really far, went to beer school. The guy has incredible taste. He's a hip dude, and I don't think a lot of people know this, has a sense of smell to rival that of a German Shepherd.
And Drew just really has a nice garage.
That's right. He brings years of expertise and really nice craft beer to the table, and I bring garage.
Hey, I think we have the name for the podcast.
That is a plus.
Welcome to
Garage Beers. So whether you're in your garage, your shop, or your safe space, we're here to talk beers and remember when we used to be cool and fun. You remember that?
Vaguely. A lot of beers ago.
I think it was, it was quite a few.
You know?
I don't know if I was ever cool and fun.
I'm going to look into it.
If you had Napster on a desktop, you were cool.
Limewire.
Ooh, yeah, you were cool.
Y'all are getting who this is for. Napster, Limewire, like, we see you out there.
Gen Z has left the chat. We're here to drink beers. The inaugural Garage Beers episode. What do you have for us?
My new favorite beer style is the oldest style in the world. It's lager beer. Lager's been around for a long damn time, you know, like you got L's, you got lagers, different strokes, different folks.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Drink more lager.
I got you something for today.
A chilled mug. This is a bougie garage we're in.
There is a reason why we're drinking them out of chilled mugs, and that's because we're about to try a premium lager first.
Nice. What's this?
This is Southern Skies. This is our new USM beer. The University of Southern Mississippi, they came to us and they were like, "Hey, we need some cheer juice." And you know, honestly, when you're sitting outside and cheering on in sports balls or whatever it is you're doing, you know, you're looking for a couple different things. You're looking for crushability, you're looking for complexity, and then you're looking for
consistency.
You know, and I think that is probably like a pretty good way to run this podcast here. Are those 3 C's?
The 3 C's. All right, so this is something you get at the stadium, right?
You can get this at the stadium. You can get this at Corner Market. You can get this at the tap room, Fast Mart. Pretty much just Hattiesburg, though.
Oh man, I poured way more than. Oh yeah.
I feel like
yeah, I wanted to fill the
lesser of a man.
We can pour it out. It's fine. There's a sink, like any good garage. Cheers.
Sink. Down the sink.
Down the sink. Oh, that's good, man. Talk me through this, because the reason we want to, full disclosure, the reason we want to do this show is because we were hanging out at the house recently, and you were talking to a table full of people, and we had been drinking wine, and then you were talking about beers, and it was just like the most captive audience I've possibly ever seen. And the stuff you talked about was like, I had no idea. Like your knowledge, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. You are very knowledgeable. So talk me through, like, someone who would be a beer nerd, what would they notice first when they're taking a sip? Do they smell it? That kind of thing. How do you enjoy a beer like this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a beer like this is less about the nuances and it's more about the overall experience. This is a time and place beer. You know, if I'm looking for something that is going to blow my socks off, from a complexity standpoint, from even like probably a flavor standpoint, you know, this might not be the beverage I'm going to pick up. But if I want something that is crisp, clean, and I can throw it down the old sink, then I think this would be one of my first choices. So, you know, the ABV is a little bit lower. Obviously, you can crush like several of these in a drinking session and be okay. This is, you know, a minute ago I said this is a premium lager. Technically, it's a Vienna lager, which is a style of lager. Maybe a little more on the malty side, a little more rounded, has just enough hop on there to make it where it's not sweet, you know? I would say it's pretty down the middle, though. Not really hoppy, not really like malty or sweet. The yeast is pretty in check. This beer is lagered for several weeks, so you just really get that really nice crispness. I guess that's the best word to describe this beer, is crisp.
Yeah. Oh, it's a crispy boy for sure.
It makes it refreshing.
Yeah. So this is something that, like, college kids who probably haven't gotten into porters yet, they haven't grown their beards, they don't have a lot of flannels, this is something that they could drink on when it's warmer outside, because it's warm here, 9 months out of the year. This is more like, outside, crushing, enjoying the sunshine.
Dare I say this would make me brush off my beer pong shirt, put it on, and take this to the table and beat somebody.
You have a beer pong shirt?
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, maybe.
Technically, it's a tank top. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Any time and place where you're drinking a macro beer, this is like a really good craft alternative. This is made with a pinch of corn, like some of the other macro beers. It's flaked maize, and that brings a complexity to the beer, but then also kind of helps dry it out. So when we're wanting to dry that out, we're kind of perceiving that as dry and crisp. Really, the goal with a beer like this is, we don't want it to sit on your tongue too long, but we want it to be just dry enough where you want to take another sip.
Okay.
It's just crisp enough where you're like, oh, I need another sip, and you need another sip, and before you know it, you've finished your 4-pack, and hopefully you're taking an Uber to go get another 4-pack.
Yes, we promote moderation and safe driving.
Always.
Don't drive while you're drinking.
Yep.
That's stupid.
Uber.
Yeah, man, this is great. I'm in a lighter era. I did the high ABVs. I did a summer of sour, and I made it a summer doing sours. I kind of gravitate more towards a lager. The darkest I go is like a red ale-ish. We've talked about that before. But this is one where like I can go have a beer in a nice place in a tap room, and I don't have to be into craft beers. Like, I think a lot of people think, oh, if I go to a brewery, I'm gonna have to drink like something made from milk. And they're like, I'm out. I'm not interested. Like, something like this is easy.
Beer's not supposed to be stuffy. Beer's always supposed to be fun. I tell everybody that works in the tap room, it's like, beer's fun. Beer's not stuffy. Wine can be stuffy. Cocktails can be stuffy. Beer's fun. That being said, not all beers are created equal. And I would say that this beer is a fun uncle.
A funkle.
It's a funkle.
Here's to riling up the kids and not having to put them to bed. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, so Southern Skies, great beer. Yep. What do we have next? What do you have in that? Also, that's a killer vintage ice chest.
Thank you. I found it.
If you said you bought it,
it was not purchased.
I would have, yeah.
It was found.
I would have ripped on you pretty hard.
All right, let's see what we got in here. I think this is where we are in life right here.
Festbier.
Festbier. So every year we do an Oktoberfest.
This can, man.
When you think about an Oktoberfest here in the States, you're like, oh, that's a big party in Germany. And then you think about Oktoberfest beer. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, that's like a very American thing. Like, they're not drinking Oktoberfest beers that we know, Sam Adams Oktoberfest, Shiner Oktoberfest. Those are like fine and dandy beers, like whatever. But they're not necessarily drinking those in Munich at Oktoberfest. That's more of an American thing. So what they are drinking is something probably a little bit more similar to this, and this is a fest beer. So difference in this and what you would typically see as being an Oktoberfest is this isn't near as malty. This is 100% German malts and German hops. German yeast, this is about as German as it gets here in South Mississippi. Let's get right into it.
Let's get into it, man. No, I just wanted to sip on it while you're talking about it because it's
I know, my mouth's watering a little bit too, let's be honest.
Also, what's the deal with Oktoberfest? It's in September.
Yeah, that always throws everybody for a loop. We do our Oktoberfest opening weekend.
Yeah, cheers.
And yeah, it's usually the third or fourth week in September, and people are very confused by that. I just tell people, don't be a silly American.
Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with some culture.
I don't know. Over in Germany, Oktoberfest is like a 3-week celebration. It's multiple weeks, so they just kind of start in September and end in October. I'm sure there is some kind of religious. There's something with the Gregorian calendar or the time-space continuum. There's something going on there. Ancient aliens. I'm not really sure.
Did this show just turn into an alien show? Shay, I'm gonna talk about aliens. Anyway, talk me through this.
Man, so I love this beer so much. We do it every year. Festbier I would say keeps the crushability of Southern Skies, but kind of amps up the complexities. So got a little more flavor going on. You're picking up some of those nice notes from the German malts, and then the German hops, the noble hops that are in there. And I think overall, I think this is probably like, if we made this year round, this would probably be my like go-to beer.
Really?
Low ABV. It's a little bit lower than the Southern Skies. I think it's closer to 4.3, 4. But yeah, I just love it. For me, it's the perfect balance of the crispness that the crispness era that we're kind of both in right now. We want those kind of crispy boys, mixed with a little bit of just like nice complexity. It's almost got it almost kind of whispers to you like, hey, fall's coming.
Yeah.
But it's not quite here.
It whispers to you about seasons.
Yes, the season whisperer. Maybe we should rename it.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, I think for me, like being 36, definitely don't like the heavy beers like I used to, because I just feel heavy. I have to kind of just keep an eye on it, you know. Something like this, I can have, 2 or 3. I feel great. It's not one where, I drink 2/3 of it and it's like, ooh, you hear the needle on the record scratch. You're like, oh, I need to lie down. So something like this where you can crush a few, like get some things done around the house, like I say I'm doing,
Or
out in
around the garage.
Yeah, I'm working. This is work. But that's what I like about something like this. This is good. I'm trying to figure out, it's similar to this, to Southern Skies, but like there's something, what else is in it? What's the difference? Somebody like me who, by the way, we said you had an incredible sense of smell. My nose is for decoration. It's just so I don't look like Voldemort. It serves no purpose. It really doesn't detect anything.
Yeah.
So my taste, what I taste, we can taste the same thing. I'm tasting something different from you.
Yeah, and everybody's going to be that way to a certain extent. I think, if I smell this beer on a personal level, like I already know like what this is. I know this is that like German malt. I know it's the Pilsner malt from Germany. That's the base malt, and then I can smell the Vienna and Munich specialty malts that are in this as well. That they're not quite at the level that you would find on what you see as Oktoberfest, like on the shelf. With that you would kind of get more like maybe some dark fruit notes, maybe a little bit of the more caramel. They tend to be kind of darker brown or red. Whereas this has like I said, it has just like a little bit of a hint of like maybe like toast and some biscuit kind of characteristics there. And then I kind of get like some like spiciness from those like German hops. But it's all like really subdued. Nothing really stands out above something else,
Yeah, man, that's impressive. That you can sense all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not even aware of that. Yeah, your level of perception when it comes to beer is like pretty, it's some Jedi stuff.
I think the key to making these, whether you're making them here, you're making them in other parts of the world, when you think of Oktoberfest, what's the first thing you think of? You think of those huge mugs. Mm-hmm. So like you need a beer that you can...
St. Pauli girl.
Yes. Yeah. You need a beer that you can like drink in large quantities and hopefully not to get arrested.
It's always the goal.
Let's hope so.
Do whatever you got to do. Just don't get arrested.
I'll cheers to that.
Hey! Shouldn't have to say it, but feel like we should.
Check out the bell bondsman number at the bottom of this video.
See, I love learning about stuff like that, because to me it's like, I can taste there's like a, you're right, it is like a bready, but it like not like a sweet bread, but like
almost like a rye bread, it's like a dark bread.
Yeah, I was gonna say like as sweet as maybe like a very mild French toast, but not quite. Because and then you try and figure it out. I think that's what's so much fun about craft beer too, is just try and figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have the same tools you do, but I can enjoy it and go, okay, so this is my point of reference right now is Southern Skies, the Vienna Lager, lighter, crushable, not super complex, but then this, there's more complexity. Mm-hmm. It's still pretty crushable.
Yeah.
Still, so the consistency, like how often I would want it, is still pretty high.
Yep.
But there's a little more complexity there to where it's like, okay, so somebody who drinks like exclusively light beers, could kind of work their way up to this pretty easily.
Festbier's like what your big brother drinks. And you're like, can I try that? And you're like, you want to be brave, and then you try it, and you're like, well, I actually think I could drink this. Like, this isn't bad, It's just that like little step up from the Southern Skies. And honestly, we started with some really hard beers today. As you know, there's some beers that are a little bit easier to pick out what's going on, and that's kind of the point of all these. Is everything is like really tight and subdued and really balanced, and they're all supposed to be just pretty drinkable and crushable. So those extreme flavors aren't sticking out like they do in an IPA or a sour or some different things like that.
Well, and people have a whole thing with IPAs and with craft beers. Yeah. Well, and then people who aren't on that team
is a cult too.
Kind of like, oh yeah, it's like
it's two cults.
IPA is very polarizing.
Yeah, it is.
But this is not polarizing. I think this is something people could really crush, and yeah, man, delicious.
Yeah, pretty tasty.
Let's crush it. On to the next one. We got Southern Skies Festbier.
Yep.
In the noggin. What's next?
So I know that we literally just decided that this show was called Garage Beers, and I'm already throwing a boomerang at you.
It'll come right back to you. So
when we were talking about, hey, we want some crushable beers in the garage today, I decided to bring you something that was not a beer, but something that was a hard lemonade.
Ooh.
Spiked lemonade.
All right, Mike.
Honestly, this thing's sneaky. And when I say sneaky, it's sneaky delicious. It's 5% ABV. It's gluten friendly. We've been making this at SoPro taproom only for months, and it is literally like in the top 3 like on sales every single week.
Wow.
And I was finally like, you know what? Let's put this in cans. It's a little late in the year to be lemonading it up, but I think once you try it, you're gonna smell what I'm stepping in.
Okay.
And it's lemons.
So it smells great.
Yeah, it smells great.
Lemons are also really good for your garbage disposal. If you don't know that, throw a little bit of lemon down there and run it.
That's a good garage tip.
Garage tip. It's like the zest. It's supposed to actually clean out your garbage
like the oils
disposal, and yeah, it's like the acidity, I guess, and when you use the rinds and stuff, it's supposed to be helpful. So it has nothing to do with beers, but that is something
I'm gonna go do that when I get home.
That's something a man struggling with his own mortality would talk to you about. Garage tip. Yeah. All right. Spiked lemonade. Oh, okay.
Got some real light lemon juice in there, sweetened with cane sugar.
Oh, I love cane sugar.
Like I said, so there's actually no malt or hop in this product. Obviously, there was yeast that was used in this because that's where the alcohol was coming from. And then it's back sweetened, like I said, has real lemon juice in it. And since it doesn't have malt in it, we can call it gluten-free. I'll call it gluten-friendly because obviously we're doing all these different beers in the same facility. And I just feel a little bit better about just calling it gluten-friendly than gluten-free.
My wife loves seltzers. Mm-hmm. Not a huge beer drinker. Mm-hmm. So this means now, if you're going to have beers, she can go and have, she can go get a seltzer and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, slightly carbonated. Like I said, it's got like 6% like real lemon juice in it. I've been telling everybody it doesn't taste like your mom's lemonade, but it probably tastes like your grandmother's like lemonade, because I think everybody's grandmother probably put a little something in their lemonade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You had a fun grandmother.
I guess so. The world was tough back then.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What's the biggest difference you notice when brewing beer and then when brewing something like that, or making something like this?
Oh, man. It's very different. I wouldn't say easier. Yeah. It's quicker. I think that the most noticeable thing is, we call it sugar wash. So we are essentially taking water and dissolved sugar and then adding a gluten-free yeast to that. Magic happens. Yeast eats the sugar. That's where alcohol comes from. Mm-hmm. it can taste and smell kind of funky at that point. It is definitely not ready to just like throw into a can and package. It's got this like kind of strange moonshine kind of like flavor.
Yeah.
Kind of has like a sake kind of like flavor as well. Familiar with sake? We basically have to use active carbon to clean up, to help kind of strip out some of those like fermentation odors, just byproducts of the fermentation. Whereas in the beer, you may be it's negligible, or you don't notice them, or they're just not produced. But on this, we have to add some active carbon to help kind of strip out some of those odors and flavors, and so that kind of adds a couple days to the process. And the goal of it after that is then we run it through our centrifuge, and it is odorless and pretty much tasteless at that point, and then it's time to add the lemons to it. So
yeah,
very different animal to tame.
How do you deal with that though? Like, just trial and error? Is it a you watch a YouTube video? Like, how does that work?
No, there was some like learning going on. Making a couple phone calls here or there. Just kind of powwowing and just checking it out. I think our motto is always we go about it with the educated tries. But if you're not trying and actually brewing, then you can just kind of sit there and scratch your head with your notebook for too long. It's like, hey, well, let's get something in the tank and kind of go through the order of problems and start checking them off.
Well, do you do it small first? Like, even with beers and new concepts and stuff, do you do it small? And then, because there's like all kinds of checks and balances you have to go through. And I mean, bro, I've seen your place. You got beakers and you titrate things, and it's like it's science over there, man. So like, do you do it in smaller batches so there's less riding on it if something goes wrong, and then kind of nail it down and go to scale?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, definitely something like this. I mean, beer wise, we're pretty confident in how that's going to work out. Been doing it a long time at this point, and a lot of times. I mean, I think 2017, 2018 alone. I mean, I did like 100 different beers. A lot of those in the tap room only, but the tap room is such a good test market. We have some smaller tanks that we use for tap room beers, so we're able to do a little bit smaller controlled test, get immediate feedback from consumers. It costs a lot of money and energy to take a beer to market. The beers that we saw in Orange Beach the other week, or the beers that are in Georgia, and the beers all throughout Mississippi. None of that. That's all the kind of same amount of like money and work, and you have to get to a level to get that out there. I couldn't just go in tomorrow and be like, I'm going to make this today and in 2 weeks send it out. The tap room allows us to do smaller batches though, and to try out things like that. So that's pretty instrumental in our research and development over there.
Man, yeah, that's interesting. It's actually fascinating how you do all that, and kind of doesn't make sense to me. So
yeah,
glad you figured it out.
Yeah. Well, working at the brewery is constant problem solving, or it's like, how can I streamline something, or how can I make something a little bit better?
Yeah, for sure.
Just like any business. I just happen to get to drink beers with my line of work.
Yeah, you do. How many calories in each can? Because that's what people...
180 calories there. And a lot of that was playing back and forth with the amount of sugar that was kind of being back sweetened and how it's tasting. And, we kind of did smaller batches where we were blindly tasting and saying, hey, well, this one actually tastes the best. Okay, well, that one's over 200 calories. It's 250 calories. Let's like bring that back down. So this is kind of where we landed with that balance of flavor and the caloric intake there.
Yeah, man. I love it. I think a lot of people will be into that. I think we have one more beer.
Okay. And well, I'm out in my cooler. So do you have a
I do.
You have a secret beer?
I do. I have a secret mystery beer.
Mystery beer.
Mystery beer.
So you brought all these really nice craft beers. I brought some beers that a lot of people I notice really like. They've been drinking a bunch, and I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I'm not into beer like you, man. I like to drink it. I think everyone knows at this point. But I just wanted to, you probably ain't even heard of this, but I wanted us to try this.
Mickey Michael
Michelob. It's Michelob. It's French.
Ultra?
Michelob. Michelob Ultra. That's right. And the reason I bring it out is because, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Michelob Ultra, send us stuff if you want. All right, this is what you need when you want to hydrate. So a lot of people love Michelob Ultra, right? And they don't, I think the craft beer community is like, oh gosh. But a lot of people really enjoy Michelob Ultra. So as we sip this, tell me how the person who loves Michelob Ultra transitions to these beers and what the difference is.
I think I'll be the first to say that I think this is just like a highly crushable, well-made beer. So here's the thing about beers like this, beers like Southern Skies, beers like Festbier, there's nothing to hide behind. It has to be flawless. If it's not flawless, you're going to be like, something doesn't taste right about this.
What do you mean hide behind?
So let's say that at some point during the process, whether it's like ingredient or it's the process, something goes wrong. Tons of different points that something could go wrong. You're going to have some bad taste in beer. Have you ever had a bad taste in Michelob Ultra? Consistent. Probably best brewers, best equipment for sure. Best brewers in the country. We love to talk about craft beers. I know tons of, I have tons of friends that are that have craft breweries. I have a craft brewery, and it's hard work day in and day out to make consistent beer. And where this is like me, I know maybe lacking in the complexity department, I think that's probably why a lot of people like it. They like it because they can drink a bunch of them. You said the key word for me was hydration. People don't just drink one Michelob Ultra. Yeah. You have several. Yeah. And I think that, like I said, I think beers like this, beers like Southern Skies, if you mess up, it's going to be very noticeable. So hats off to them for that level of consistency and quality. I would say that there's just I can't taste a lot. It's not very complex. There's not a lot going on. It's just kind of fizzy, and not in a bad way.
It's a fun LaCroix.
They sell more Michelob Ultra in a day than I sell of SoPro in a year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating at all. There's just it is very. It just kind of tastes like bubbles.
This is Taylor Swift, and then this is King Gizzard the Lizard Wizard. There's a little more complexity. It's a little more fun. Pop music, jazz, and then some are like, this isn't jazz. This is like, I don't know. That's like funk. It's like funk music a little bit, where it's like, it knows about jazz, but it doesn't really mess with it. I get it. I get why this is popular.
Yep.
And I get why people crush it when they play tennis and golf, and it's marketed towards athletes as well because of the low calorie count. But it's also because there isn't a lot in it. That's why there's a low calorie count.
Don't clutch your pearls, but this is not my first Michelob Ultra.
I just think it's funny. I did this on purpose because it's like, I don't know, man. There's a whole thing about you have to be one or the other. You drink Mich Ultra or you drink, craft beer, and craft beer is bitter beer, or all that silly stuff. It's that's not necessarily true.
So what's funny about this too, this is such an American thing. I'm sitting over here and I'm like, Southern Skies is this Vienna lager, Mexican lagers kind of fall within that realm, but it's a European thing. We're talking about Festbier, that's it's got its roots in Germany. Light lagers, light beer, that's very much an American thing. But it's now so popular that, there's Heineken makes a light beer now, there's breweries that didn't start doing that are, because this is what people like to drink.
Well, it's good, but I also did this to just kind of mess with you. I couldn't just
Good luck throwing me off. You didn't even know I love Michelob Ultra.
Thought I was throwing a curveball. You nailed it. Hit it out of the park. But man, this has been awesome. So episode 1, Garage Beers in the books. To those of you watching, make sure you like and subscribe, and also let us know what kind of beers you want to watch us drink and talk about. It doesn't have to be SoPro beers. Actually, our goal is to to talk about all kinds of beer from all over.
Most definitely.
The more esoteric and weird, the better.
Yeah, I want a hard time trying to find some of this stuff.
Yeah. I want, like, let's get into it. Like, stuff that you've heard about or you haven't even tasted, and you just want to hear an expert basically break it down for you, how he thinks they made it and all that kind of stuff would be so much fun.
Let's blow Drew's mind.
It's not that hard. It won't be that tough, but we're counting on you to let us know what you want to see. We appreciate you tuning in, and yeah, that's Garage Beers, episode 1.
Cheers.
Yeah, freaking Nick Ultra.